Welcome to Empowering the Next Generation podcast. I am Helen Veru. This podcast is dedicated to help anyone connected to preteens and teens to give them tools, empower and inspire teachers, high school senior leaders, and parents to build the future leaders of tomorrow. We discuss about controversial and relevant topics related to the world of education, the main problems you are facing, and solutions to help you navigate your journey. We want to make a positive change in education by bringing on experts that will give you a different perspective on how you can solve the hardship you are facing today. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Empowering the Next Generation podcast. This is a new episode where we have an amazing guest speaker with us. You know that we are here to ignite, develop leaders, and also create meaningful connections in school community. And if you are an educator or a school leader who wants to exceed the classroom and also who don't know how to start, I would encourage you to join my free masterclass called Educator to CEO, so I can give you some insight about how you can start your entrepreneurial journey. So welcome on this podcast, this new episode. And today we have an amazing guest speaker, as I said before. His name is Todd Bloomer. He's originally from New York, and he has served schools and community for the past 3 decades. He's also a former coach, a principal, and author. And after 29 years in public education, as an administrator, Todd is now serving principals and support schools in the Archdiocese of San Antonio and as a director of school leadership. He also wrote a book called The Blueprint, and he's very passionate about self-care and giving back to school communities. So welcome on board. Thank you so much for joining, Todd.
Good morning. Good morning.
I know
Hi,
it's
Coach Helen. How are
early.
you?
I'm amazing. I'm amazing. I know it's really early by you, and I love your dedication to be here and to serve the community. So let's really dive into the questions because I feel that you have so much to offer, and they want to hear what you have to say about self-care, giving back to school community. So your journey really hasn't always been balanced. Okay, so how
Correct.
did you really eventually find a sustainable work-life balance, and what had to change for that to happen?
Yeah, first of all, Helen, thank you for amplifying voices of leaders with your podcast. I do appreciate that. Appreciate the invite and the ability to sit and talk with you for a little bit this morning. When they say balance, balance indicates like 50-50. Like balance is like equality. And I don't think we'll ever find a work-life balance. And
Mhm.
so, like honestly speaking, that's a journey that I've been on for the past 3 decades is how do I maximize where my feet are? So wherever I am, how do I maximize my time there? When I'm at work, that's got to be the most important. That's got to be the most joyful. And that's got to be where I am at my best when I'm at work. But when I'm at home, I have to have that same philosophy when I'm at home. My wife deserves that. My children deserve that. I deserve that. So early on in my career, I fell into what I call the administrative quicksand. Like I started, staying 12, 14 hours at work, not eating right, not sleeping right, not taking care of myself, neglecting everything that I had because I always felt that as a leader, everybody else had to come first. And, Simon Sinek, who's probably the smartest man in the world, wrote a book called Leaders Eat Last. And like that was always been our philosophy. And I always, Coach Allen, I always ask, like, what class did we take in college that said, like, put everybody else first and neglect you? Like, we never took that, but it became that group think that, like, the badge of courage was I stayed at work for 14 hours. So the badge of courage was I ate poorly, or the badge of courage was I didn't go to the gym, or the badge of courage was, I miss family events. And like early on, and really where it hit me was my first year as a school principal. My son, Andrew, was at a different middle school than I was at because I was at one middle school and he was at another. And in the great state of Texas, seventh grade is the year that you could start to play sports. And, you're in the Middle East, but Texas is big into football. And so my son was playing football. So basically, I missed his entire seventh grade year of football because my school played on the same night he did. And really, the only nights that I saw him play were when we played him or we had an off night. Fast forward to eighth grade, I did a little bit better, but not much. Fast forward to ninth grade, he goes to high school. They played on a different night, but that was volleyball night for us at middle school. So there's always an excuse on why I didn't see him play. Now, the sad part becomes when he's in 10th grade, he dislocated his kneecap and he missed his 10th grade year. He rehabbed and came back and he did the same thing to his other knee as an 11th grader.
Wow.
So fast forward to 12th grade, I'm now his principal at the high school that we're at, and I was able to be with him there. But I missed essentially his 7th grade, I missed his 10th grade, and I missed his 11th grade because I felt like I needed to be other places. So that slapped me in the face because I have four girls and one boy, five children. And daddy's
Mhm.
boy, like I missed him. And so really from that moment forward, I realized there are events I have to be at school because I have to be there. There are events that the principal has to be there and everything else takes a back seat. But everything else I could delegate to someone else to take care of. And if I explained my why to my community or my people, people would understand that's his son that's playing somewhere else. That's his daughter that's playing somewhere else. So I got real
Mhm.
crystal clear being able to explain to parents, I can't be at the swim meet. I can't be at the band concert, not because I don't want to, but because my son is or my daughter is that. And to take it one step further, I really realized that if I was going to stay in this game for a really long time, if I was going to keep the longevity needed to be a principal, I needed to be at my absolute best. And so I laced up a pair of shoes one morning and I went for a run. And I'm pretty happy to say that I've worked out every single day since Memorial Day of this year. I'm on a great streak of that. In fact, it's 6:45 in the great city of San Antonio, Texas now, and I've already knocked out 3 miles. And I really realized that if I get up early, and I'm an early riser, I'm up at 4 a.m., I hit the gym or I run or I hit Hotworks, shout out to Hotworks. I come back and I read the Bible. And I think that is so important that I am able to be spiritually fed. And then I work on my second book. I'm working on the Blueprint 2.0. And so I find
Nice.
time during the day and I schedule that time, just like I schedule time to do an observation or go from there. So as I wrap up my long story that I'm telling you, Coach Allen, I realized early on that if life goes by like that with your children, if you're not careful, you'll miss all of it. Luckily, my children still love their dad and they're still close and life is good. And then I realized that if I'm not good, I can't give back. In my last couple of years as a principal, I actually stood up in front of my faculty and said, you know, the adage, kids first, kids first, kids first. And we all agree with that. But I said, there's a caveat to that. And everyone kind of looked, and I said, I'm going to say that's a false statement. You have to put yourself first to be able to put kids first. Because if I don't have anything in my tank, I can't give anything to kids. So when I'm
Mhm.
good, when I'm running, when I'm working out, when I'm knocking out a kettlebell workout before I start, when I'm reading the Bible and feeling good about the word of the Lord, when I'm with my family, my wife and I went out and listened to some live music last night. When I'm good there, I can give to your children, I can give to you, I can be the best at school. So when I'm at school, I'm rocking and rolling. But when I'm at home, I try to be dad and husband and just like some dude that lives in the apartment that's got a pool downstairs and loves living in San Antonio, Texas. And so that's how I've tried to come up with as close to a balance as I possibly can.
I love that. And you know, one word that came out to me, to my mind when we were speaking, it's about really refueling yourself. And
Mhm.
I feel that most leaders forget about that because obviously they really focus on performance rather than really understanding alignment. And I feel that when you're aligned with your priorities, your values, you really schedule and prioritize what is important to you. So you speak often of about self-care and especially for leaders. So why is self-care is not just important but essential for a long-term effective and impact in school communities?
Well, first of all, it's just the health aspect. Let's just start with the health aspect. Our jobs are so stressful. And a good
Mm,
friend of mine, shout out to Melvin Eckert if he's listening. Melvin one time told me, a longtime principal in San Antonio, a long time told me that, oftentimes as a principal, all we do is take in the negative. Like you think about what leaders deal with. We deal with suspensions, expulsions, possible terminations of teachers, stress, bullying, you name it. If we're not careful, all we do is sit in the office. And the word is sit. Sometimes all we do is
yeah.
sit in the office. And you know what? We grab a cookie, a Reese's peanut butter cup, and we're eating and chowing down all day long. We're not getting up, we're not moving around, and everything we take in is extremely stressful. And stress is awful for the body. And like stress, just blood pressure. Next thing you know, our pants don't fit. Like, so just from a health standpoint, taking care of yourself is so important because you only got one body. And like when the body stops, like there's nothing you can do. And I oftentimes, like early on in my career, like you think about like Thanksgiving break, like I would get sick leading up to Thanksgiving break because my body just could not go anymore. And all of a sudden you're sleeping 16 to 18 hours that first week of there because your body is just down. So I've got a little slogan, 2 miles a day keeps the doctor away. Now it's 3 miles a day keeps the doctor away. And while it's not always a case, but exercise just does so much for you. And you don't
Mm.
have to get out and run. You don't have to run. You could get out and walk. You could ride your
Yes.
bicycle. You could join Hot Works. You could do yoga. You could do Pilates. You could do some workouts. That's great. But then I'll also take it a step further. You could sit outside in the sunshine and read the Bible, read your favorite book. You could go for a swim. There are
Mm.
so many things that you could do that not only fill your body, but your heart, your soul, and your mind. And when
Yeah.
you, it's weird, but look good, feel good. When you feel good about what you're doing, like you're going to do just a better job. And so self-care is just so important. And I'm still not good at being the best eater that I can. Like I need to do a better job of salads and greens and that kind of stuff. And that's probably my next deal. Because funny story, Coach Allen, my doctor right now is a former student of mine. And so very humbling, right? Very humbling experience, right?
Very humbling,
Very
yes.
humbling experience. So he calls me coach. He said, Coach, you need to start lifting weights more. You need to get stronger. The older you get, you need to get stronger. And so I was like,
Mm.
oh, he can't tell me to lift me. So of course now I've worked that in. So I also think it's really important, and this is kind of goes along the same line as yours, but having an accountability partner for all of this is so
Yes.
key. Like
Mm.
honestly speaking, I've got a group text of people that I check in when I run, when I work out, when I go places, because that holds me accountable and also holds them accountable. And hopefully it's something that motivates both of us for what we have. And so I live in a beautiful city that I could run all year long. I live in a wonderful city that in the evenings we can take walks. And so taking care of yourself is so important because if stress, blood pressure, heart rate, all that kind of stuff, diabetes, all those things, they shorten your life, not only your life but your
Definitely.
tenure. And so
Yes.
you don't have to run, but you have to get out. And Jimmy Casas, a great author, and I'll call him a friend of mine, said there's 2% of your day should be dedicated to your physical fitness, and that's 30
Mm.
minutes a day. And everybody
Yes.
can walk for 30 minutes. Everybody can ride a
Yes.
bicycle for 30 minutes. Everybody can do that. And then you just like as start stacking goals on top of each other. I'm going to go for 45. I'm going to go for an hour. I'm going to work
Mm.
this in. And pretty soon you start to see the results and you feel better. And that's
Definitely.
the greatest thing. And the beauty is it's the first step that's the hardest. But once you take that first step, like life is good. And I will share with you this. If you stand in front of your faculty and say, I need you to hold me accountable. I don't do a good job going home early at night. I don't do a good job of eating right. I don't do a good job of working out. So I want you to ask me about those things and hold me accountable to it. We're all on the same team. We're all on the same journey.
Mm.
Everybody's doing the same thing. And then you find out that this teacher's running or this teacher's, got a hiking club that meets on Saturday mornings and stuff. And so I just think physical fitness is so important and it connects people and it brings people together and it's a stress reliever and an outlet. And when you're only taking in negative stuff, it's a great way to purge that and make you feel better.
I
Let's
totally
go, Coach Ellen.
understand.
I'm
I
fired up.
love.
Coach Ellen. Fired
No,
up.
it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. And I love that you don't focus only on your physical health. You also focus on your spiritual health. And I feel it's so important to have those two because you fuel your mind, you will fuel your soul, and also your body, so it can work together to maximize your impact and everlasting impact. So thank you for sharing that. So let's dive a bit deeper, okay, Todd? So you have decided to put your ideas into writing with the blueprint, okay? So what was the moment or motivation that made you realize this book needed to exist?
You started off the intro by saying everybody's got a story. And I think every
Mm.
leader have some kind of obligation to share their story because, Coach Ellen, someone tapped you on the shoulder at some point and said, hey, you've got potential. You should think about this. And everybody's guided
Mm.
us along the way. And everybody's been a mentor and everybody's been someone that showed us the way, took time to do that. And so we have an obligation to give back to people. And I think your podcast is a great example of giving back and mentoring and motivating your master class, the same thing that you have there. I think that's really, really important. And so my brother was transitioning from a math teacher to an assistant principal. So that's where the book began. And I
Okay.
really started typing him an email. And then all of a sudden, I felt like there was a story behind it. And so,
Mm.
believe it or not, Coach Allen, it took me 7 years to write the book. And there were a
Wow.
lot of times where I felt like giving up. There's a lot of times where it sat in my
Wow.
Google Docs and just, I thought it'd just, die there and it was just going to be a great idea. And then I just got motivated one day and just finished it off. And the
Nice.
beauty becomes like, just the randomness of people that I've connected with that have read the book that have talked about what it did for them. And so I think the reason I put it in writing was just that. I had a story, and my story was the guy you see right now talking to you. I'm the most confident guy in the world. I could walk into any room and I am in charge of that room. I should be the MC of that
Yes,
room, right? With the good,
I like that.
right? With a little bit of humility, right? But
Of
early on
course.
in my career, I was not. Early on in my career, I had that imposter syndrome. I had to prove that I was a good leader. I
Mm,
struggled. I took wrong advice. I wasn't clear on my priorities. I wasn't clear with my communication. I'm a New Yorker. I'm loud. I'm fast. I'm on the go. And I failed to articulate my why and my leadership style. And so, fast forward, I've received some awards. I was a principal for 12 years. But I wanted to share that what you see now is not how it started. And there are so many people out there that are struggling right now that are on a Saturday morning or Sunday or Monday night, whenever they're sitting there thinking, I don't know if I can do this. And like you look at our Facebook communities and stuff where people are out there, and it's so sad to see people say, I don't know if I could do this. I'm ready to give up.
yes.
What other jobs
Mhm.
do I have? And
Yes.
that's disheartening because we need great leaders and we need people that are willing to step in and do the work and love the kids and love the staff and take the schools where we need them to go. And so, long story short, I felt like I had a story that could resonate with people to be able to motivate and inspire. But not only that, give them the mindset, the structures, and the systems to be able to not just survive, but thrive. And so
Mhm.
the exciting part became this, like, okay, so I put the book out. The book has done moderately well. I'm never going to be able to retire based on the book, but I'm working on the Blueprint 2.0. And the Blueprint 2.0 is going to come out in July, and
Amazing.
it is going to be bigger and better than the first Blueprint. And it's going to be something that I think every principal, whether you're an early career leader or a 10-year leader, will be able to benefit from. And I'm really, really excited about it. And it's one of my things that I work on. 4 o'clock workout, 5 o'clock Bible, 5:30 to 7 every day. I'm finishing the Blueprint 2.0. And then I have to go to my real job. So I put in a 3 hour day before I begin my job. And so I'm
Mhm.
really excited about that. So I would tell anybody that's out there right now listening, whether it be TikTok or Instagram, whether it be a blog, whether it be a podcast, you've got a story to tell. And if you think that your story isn't important, you're wrong because you're uniquely positioned to help somebody that was once like you. And while I feel like I'm relevant because I coach principals right now, I'm in schools a lot. I'm not sitting at a desk right now. I'm not answering the phone. I'm not running down to break up a fight. I'm not dealing with issues. And so if you're currently in the principal chair, you've got something I don't have. And that's you've got that day-to-day story to be able to tell. And so I think it is so important that every single one of us in some way, shape, or form share their story with everybody else.
I totally agree with you. And everybody has a message, everybody has something, and you build your story. And I feel this is what is missing in the school system is really training, equipping school leaders just like you before you even start the job to really allowing you to grow into that leadership and understand what is leadership. Because sometimes we end up being in that position, but we don't know how to lead. And I don't know if you know about John Maxwell, I'm a John Maxwell certified coach. So I really understand now the power of leadership. Even as an educator, I understand that in my classroom, I understand the different laws that I can use. And I feel this is missing because people are in their job, in their career, but they don't really understand how to influence better, how to influence themselves, how to know their vision, their identity. If they don't know about self, and I feel this part of the school system. The school system really disfavor people about knowing themselves, growing into self-discovery so they can actually impact and leave a legacy. And that's what we're doing right now with your blueprint, the book, the 2.0, you are leaving a legacy behind. So other educators, school aid leaders like you can actually understand the mistake that you've made. And it's kind of a mentorship book. So I love all the ideas that you have created around this book. So looking back on your leadership journey, if you could start over, what would you do differently and what advice would you give to leaders just starting out? Just give two
Two,
advice. Only
two
two.
advice, two
Yes.
advice, and I've kind of touched on it, is make sure you don't neglect your family. and make
Nice.
sure you don't neglect yourself. So I would make sure that you put a calendar together and you're at events that the superintendent says you have to be at. And then you circle on that event. Just as important is your son's football game, your daughter's orchestra concert, and a date night with your wife. That is number one. Second, on that same calendar, I would calendar your physical, mental, spiritual, and family time. I would make sure that when I'm putting a observation on the calendar for Coach Helen, or I'm putting a game on that I have to go supervise, I'm also putting the time of the day on Monday, whether I'm getting up early to go work out or I'm working out after work. I'm putting up on there what time I'm going to church. I'm making sure that's a priority, Saturday or Sunday, and I'm making sure that my spiritual journey is a priority in the morning. That I'm making sure that we look at the week. And you know what? Wednesday night's my wife and I are going to go out, or Friday night we're going to go listen to live music. I would make sure that that was sacred time, because that
I
goes
love
by
that.
like that. And so many of us, if I could do that over, if you're a first year leader, I would tell you, get your calendar, sit down with it, school priorities, family priorities, make sure they mesh.
I love it. That was powerful, very concise and powerful. So, if you want to actually build your own story as well, just like Todd Bloomer, I would encourage you to join my free masterclass called From Educator to CEO, because we want to hear your story. And if you don't know how to start, where to start, don't wait until you want to retire. Just start the journey right now. So, thank you so much for joining us, Todd. And I'm so pleased that you're here. And anyone listening to us, make sure that you share, comment, and like this episode. We see you in there next time.
Thank
Thank you for listening to this episode, and make sure you connect with us on Instagram at The Case for Success. Check also my link tree and become an affiliate of the Success Guide for Teens Academy, a program that will empower your school community as a parent, teacher, and high school senior leader. Do not hesitate to reach out, comment, and share. Until then, see you in the next episodes.